This conference will now be recorded.
Hi audience, this is Shiva. Today we are going to have a glance on performance engineering and infrastructure analysis. We do the performance testing to check the load, capacity and volume and availability and capacity availability of the applications. And that we do load generators, we do use load generators, we do use the real-time data centers sometimes, and we work on production-like environments. So we work on different aspects towards the infrastructure. You use on-premises servers, use direct data center-based standalone servers, and you use SaaS-based, virtual machines as like the cloud service. Yeah. So the way you're going to test and the performance testing is based on the infrastructure, and you need to be in the position while doing analysis post performance testing. Infrastructure analysis will play very key role. If you're good in that area, you can fetch up the more and more kind of issues. Let's say example, you're working on performance testing, you're doing performance testing with 100 concurrent users. You ran a test for 1 hour with full load, yeah, and the SLA for few transactions, say ABC, yeah, XYZ, and some DH. For these transactions, SLA is 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. But in our case, the report has been fetched 2 seconds, 2 seconds, and 8 seconds. That clearly indicating that some transaction belongs to DFG is a hard burnt area which is a candidate to analyze. So we have different things to analyze. Yeah. Uh, if a transaction response time and the transaction performance is going bad. One is application side. The next end is infrastructure side. Application side, we have everything. We sit with developers, but not the infrastructure side. We need to analyze things almost all by ourselves. The main, the precautionary and preventary, and the other cause is infrastructure. What we are going to use for performance testing is not the real infrastructure which is actually going to be live in most cases. We may use user acceptance testing, we may use pre-production. Very rare times to be live environments we get a chance to work on. If it is a to be go live environment, yes, infrastructure guys will be available and they will be in a position to answer for your every query and aspect. Example, your performance testing fetching with HTTP 500 errors. This is a reason. This is a reason for an infra failure. Your infra, your server and its heap and its GC and this memory utilization is the structure what they defined is went wrong at some place. That that causes HTTP 500, sometimes 404, HTTP 404. So what infrastructure analysis leads a good performance testing analysis output? We have too many tools. Yeah, in performance engineering, while you're doing performance testing, you may opt it occasionally with an application performance management tools, which are very giving very good coverage towards infrastructure. Say I'm just fall into AppDynamics now. This is a server and it's the host ID. Though what is the load average? We'd be in the position to keep up every good load average and the availability of the system. What is the availability of the system? And CPU, memory, network errors per minute, network, and the volumes. What is the partitions and the volumes? What are the top classes on that particular infra, which impacts a lot of our performance this time. See, if I take in a network, so what kind of network it is? It is an Ethernet adapter and it is enabled, yeah. And what is the network throughput? And how about the incoming and net pockets of networking, outgoing packets of the networking? We need to be analyzed a bit at least. We should be in the position to analyze it little and analyze and give the information, just pass on the information to the networking or infra guys in their understandable language. Then only you would be in the position that, yeah, I'm raising a performance testing issue. Just an example. I just came back to Dynatrace. This is also giving very good drastic view of infra. See, the host health. If it is something going wrong, it can turn to red. And the container information. If the network is falling and the processing through containers, what are the containers? What are the health? And what is the network status? And what are the network metrics? And what is the smartscape of the 16 hosts which are calling from this application? CPU utilization, memory utilization, disks, how they are processing, and what is the server health. So you are testing application performance by giving some business transactions, yeah, and the base of some load. Then if you hit a load continuously for an hour, what is the situation of application is the phenomena. The second and outmost, the next important phenomenon is infrastructure. If you're doing a real-time performance engineering, which helps you a lot. Here, see the infrastructures, even load generators and performance testing area, all are falling into the cloud now. If you take an example of an Azure cloud, this is the Azure Computing Services and yeah, virtual machines, containers, Azure App Service, serverless computing. See, the importance of Azure, a SaaS, is if you see the item wise, if you have four major items here, the three items will belongs to infra. They will maintain virtual machines. They maintain containers. They maintain serverless computing. The only thing is application service that you have to build. That means Azure or AWS, they were providing the hassle-free infra to the customers. What is the use if you take an SaaS, yeah, SaaS infra? See, if your load generator is, it doesn't mean like, it doesn't mean what is the load generator I have. Whether it is a SaaS, yeah, I keep it in a SaaS load generator. This host name I would provide in a HP Performance Center if I'm using load generator to execute my performance testing scripts. This is a host name, but that host name gives us most valuable things. If you use any Azure computing and Azure account SaaS for your application, then that is in a cost-effective, scalable, elastic, reliable, secure, global. If you take your load with a Storm Runner, you can able to know the importance of global availability of systems, load generators. Yeah. So if by using Storm Runner, you can keep load in Australia alone, Japan alone, China alone, India alone, in India, which city you need, that city alone. And that should be secure, that should be reliable, that should be elastic. That means your load is becoming high today, so my server elastic should come up with an elastic mode that my load generator also ready to take up more load. Come on, you can, yeah, scalable, and it must be cost effective. If I use my cloud environment, my cloud infra, then only I will charge. If you are not using, you just shut down your missions for a while. I never charge for that. Yeah. So mm, the infra, how the cloud, I mean SaaS is managing private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud. Yes, it is in a public cloud that could be accessible from anywhere. Private cloud that could be accessible from the area which is specified by the user's perspective and the location perspective and the application perspective. You are eligible to access, then only it will allow you to access the private cloud infra. And now the services, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Now we are dealing with infrastructure. So what the services they were providing in infrastructure is virtualization, servers, storage, networking. So these are the cloud services we get through from a SaaS service, whether you can take Azure, AWS, Google, whatever the cloud you can take. Okay, now I'm coming back here. So what could be the reason if my LG is in elastic mode? This may not happen. How to engineering, like how to do engineering for a particular outlined response time transaction. I know I have some logs from application side in LoadRunner or JMeter. I can take up the things, okay, but infra side I can say just my CPU is going up or my memory is going up. So what would be the reason? What would be the reason for CPU and memories going to the up while you're doing performance testing? That is the kind of engineering, and you would be provide at least an analysis, and you should need to be present at least a 5 minutes explanation of your preliminary analysis that your performance testing output fetching some infrastructure issues. Your performance testing output analysis fetching with some capacity planning issues that really added you advantage. So guys, to ready, we are starting the session on performance engineering, truly on performance engineering versus infrastructure analysis. I will show you the infrastructure analysis by different monitoring tools like AWS, yeah, Azure, yes, and APM tools, Dynatrace, AppDynamics, which are the market leaders. So we have a very fantastic short line session announcing soon. So please register and take up the skill on infrastructure analysis as well. That helps your career. I'm damn sure for that. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
This conference will now be recorded.